Hello everyone, this is Joseph Saul. Thank you for joining me on this online tutorial where I'll be showing you my methodology for achieving the images that you have seen. I hope that by the end of this tutorial you will gain some insight or at least gain some tidbits on how to apply some of the same effects that I do in my own images. So anyway, let's get started. This workflow will incorporate the utilization of AI tools. You're looking right now at Heaven Fields. This photo was taken on the streets of San Gimignano in Italy. So it's a real photo, a real human being, a real pose in a real location. It's actually photography. And this is my image straight out of camera. Now, the utilization of AI tools, it's here to stay. As photographers, we either use it or ignore it. We either criticize it, we either stand against it, or we embrace it, and we leverage the ability to make magic with our photography, or we simply ignore it. Anyway, having said that, I want to show you first what I do. Again, I take my image out of my camera, bring it into my raw file. This is my raw file into Photoshop. And I do what we all do. We looked at the image, we look the composition, we look the environment, we look for distractions, we look for everything that we don't want to have in the image. In this case, I think this image is pretty nice. Clean, there's not much going on. So what I like to do is, in this image, for example, I have many images of heaven in this outfit. So I took who knows how many different poses in different locations with this particular white robe and hat carrying that basket. And so I have too many of these images. Wouldn't it be nice then to take one of those images and not be redundant and be able to maybe change the outfit, add elements, change the hat, change the color, whatever you want to do. And we can do that. We can select the dress using our select tool. We can select the hat. We can select anything we want. We can change the colors. We can change the pattern. We can even try to change the image with something else, right? We can do it manually here in Photoshop, which, by the way, the usage of utilizing Photoshop is another way of utilizing artificial intelligence. Every time we do anything in Photoshop, we are using pretty much an artificial intelligence tool to get the image the way we want to. So there, we're already using AI. So anyway, in this case, I love these images. Every one of these images that I took of heaven, I love them all. But how many times can I share an image of heaven with the same outfit? And that's where I think the utilization of AI tools becomes very handy, because we can utilize all this repeated image with the same outfits and replace those outfits, and quite frankly, even the pose if we want to, and voila, we have an actual subject, an actual photo that we can now share again without being redundant. All right, so what do I do from this point? Well, I look at the composition. I say, okay, what else do I need to have in this image? I'm content with it. Maybe I can expand it on the side a little bit, just make it a little bit wider, and using the rule of thirds, right? And here we go. We're gonna utilize generative expand so that we can have the effect that we want. So that's pretty much what I want to do with this image before I move into checking her skin, her anomalies, clean the skin, and things of that nature. So I look at this image, I look at the other options to see which one looks more natural, which one I like the best, and I think I like the first one here, so here I am. And you know what? I'm gonna flatten that image because I'm very content with this. So I zoom in, And the first thing I do is I look at the face. What do I need to do? Heaven has beautiful skin. Rarely there's anything that I like to change on her. Any distractions, again, we take the remove tool, and little hairs like this that really, are just little distraction. I may want to remove this mole just because I want her to have more of a clean skin. Everything else to me looks really good on her face. I'm looking at her face right now, and I'm going to zoom in. And so I'm going to just get rid of some little blemishes that I see over here. There's a hair right there, little lines that I want to remove. I want to see this brightness over here. Don't like it. I don't want to, that's too much distraction. I'm going to just use the remove tool to get rid of that. There's some texture here that I'm going to take away. There's a little spot right here on her nose. And so I'm just going around, get rid of some of these little hairs right here so that I can clean her face a little bit more. So you can see this. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Take this off, and just leave that strand of hair right there. Here's a hair that I don't like, that line right there. I'm looking around, just little things that will make the image a whole lot more cleaner. So I like what I have so far. I'm going to go down and check out her arms. Just inspect the entire image for anything that may be distracting, that may be an anomaly, an imperfection, and do the work. All right. So far, you know what? I like it. There's some spottiness over here, but that doesn't matter. Well, what do I do next? Well, what I do next, again, I'm going to utilize an artificial intelligence tool. So normally, to be more efficient and more effective and move rapidly, I use filter. I use the neural filter. I apply the skin smoothing on her face. I like it. I press OK. I come here, and I like what I see. All right. So her skin is actually very nice. I mean, doesn't need that much smoothing. What I like to use, I use a little program called Retouch Pro. It's a cute little program, cheap to buy. It does a fantastic job when it comes to skin retouching. I do easy. I could do frequency separation and all of that, but it creates the same results. So why go through the whole frequency separation or do it manually? I try easy right here. It does a fantastic job. Obviously you have to measure how much you want to apply, but again, it's all up to what you want to do. So I take my brush, I bring the opacity to 28% perhaps, and I just want to smooth the skin a little bit around her neck, her chest. Try to still preserve some of the natural pores and texture on her skin. Not much, just a tiny bit. Same thing with her arm. If you notice, she has wonderful skin, but I just want to maybe retouch the veins on her hands, a little bit on her arms, and just basically do a little retouch. As you can see right here, I would like to smooth this out, make those discoloration disappear, make her arm smoother, makes it for a much better presentation. You all know that. Same thing on her fingers, smooth the harshness. And so there you are. Here we are. Same thing with her leg, right? So all I'm doing is just apply a small brush stroke of skin smoothing as to not to look so plasticky, but still preserve some of the natural texture, get rid of some imperfections, some bumps, and things of that nature. All right, and here I am. I'm happy. Well, again, I can keep the layer, but no, I'm gonna flatten the image because I just don't like to have a stack of layers. All right, so what do I do next then? You know what? Again, I'm gonna cheat. Look at her face. So what I like to do before I do anything else, I like to brighten her face, do some Dutch and burning, bring the brightness of her eyes, get rid of the redness on her eyes, just work on her face. Now, I can do this manually. I have many of these programs here. I have my actions over here where I can do it. I have, again, Retouch Pro where I can do all of that, face, eyes, all of that. I mean, it's, I don't have to educate you on how many programs are out there. There is Modify, same thing. I can do all this, right? But of all the little programs that I have, I like to use one that is called Anthropic Portrait Pro. I've been using this since I learned how to do photography almost 7 years ago. It's one of the first programs that I ever came across, and I like it. I'm used to it. I'm stuck with it. There are better programs out there, including the ones that I just showed you. But I'm a creature of habits. I've been habitually using this little program, and it does exactly what I want, and I'm content with that. So let me show you how I use it. So here I am. Here's the image, and here is going to be the changes. Now, the first thing that I do, I go on her eyes. And what do? I want to clean her eyes. I want to see the whiteness of her eyes a little bit more pronounced, not too much, but just a little bit more pronounced. Clean those eyes a little bit. If you notice now the differences between this image here and this image here, you'll see the results. In addition to that, then I like to sharpen her eyes. So I just need to slide this and sharpen those eyes the way I want to. Sometimes one eye, if you can see this eye is sharpened than the other one here. And perhaps I may want to correct that when I get back to Photoshop. But I'm going to leave it like that for now. I can sharpen her eyebrows if I want to. I can sharpen her iris if I want to a little bit, just to make it brighter. I'm going to leave it at 7 right there. I can change the eye colors. I can put eye contacts if I wanted to. I can add catch lights if I want to. But if you notice, this is fine. I like this, so here I am. I'm done with her eyes. Now, as far as lighting and coloring, this is a very good tool right here. This is the one that I use to shape the contouring of her face. So if you notice this, I'm going to use Sculpt Nose so that I can add some highlight on her nose. I'm going to highlight her cheekbones very subtly. You don't want to do it too much. If you see the difference right there. It's to your liking. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how much. Do what you please, right? So you can see the difference right there. So I'm going to leave it right here. I'm going to use modeling to add, if you notice the contouring of shadows, this contours the face, which pops the face. Right now, the face on the left is very flat, but if I do contouring, you can see how you have the 3D effects on her face. So I'm going to leave it right there. Here I can control the amount of light. If you notice right here, I can control the amount of light that I can place on that face, and you can also manipulate this if you want to. You can also change the lighting direction of the direction of the light on her face. So I'm just going to leave it right straight on. So if you notice the difference between this face and this face, you see more contour on this face. Now, I'm not done with it because the face here is a little bit too dark for me, and I can cast more light in Photoshop to achieve what I want. Also, using this little program, I can apply makeup if I want to. I can apply eyelashes. I can apply blush on her chin. I can do all those things here. But for now, this is what I like. Another aspect is that hair. I can also add some light and shyness onto her hair. If you notice the difference, right? So I can do all those things here if I want to. I can manipulate quite a few things in this little program, but mainly I use it so that I can add a 3D contouring on her face. So I'm happy with this. I'm going to go back to Photoshop. And again, I'm preparing this image the way any other photographers, without the utilization of artificial intelligence, but using just regular tools to prepare my image before I apply some AI effects. Now, what do I do here? I continue to work on shadows and lights. So what I do is I have a little action that is called add light. This is my own action, and it's basically 2 layers, curves adjustment, one for shadows and one for light. They are both combined, and I just use it. If you notice right here, reduce shadows, illuminate midtones. That's really what it is, right? Just 2 layers of 2 curves combined. I take now a white brush, okay, and about 28%. Then what I do is I look at the way the light is flowing on her face, going this way. So what I like to do then is I like to add more light. But mainly, I do 1 stroke on the middle of her face, 2 strokes, and look at that, right? And so now I begin to add more light. Look at her neck. I'm going to add more light coming down here, okay? I'm going to add light on her shoulder, light right above her breast, maybe some more light on her chest, right here, where the light is flowing. If you notice that the light is flowing this way. So I'm adding more light in that direction. I do the same with her arms. The light is hitting right here, so I'll do it on the fabric. I sometimes will do it on the fabric as well. All right, so this shoulder, there's more light bouncing there. Same thing on her arm. There's more light over here based on the direction of the light. On her arms, you know, I can and highlight the same thing on her hands, just the way the light is hitting. All right, so I'll do the same on her leg. All right, so remember the light is coming on this direction, so naturally that light is going to hit her leg. And what I'm doing basically is also leaving the shadows on the leg and just highlighting where I believe the light is hitting, so that you can see that this leg now has more of a 3D effect. So you can see that. So what is the difference with my additional light? Take a look. Before, after, before, after, right? So this is my way of preparing the image. In addition to that, I use the same amount, the same brush, and I come over above her eye, okay, and then I also do a pass on her eye. Remember I told you this eye didn't look that bright? Well, with some of this light, it does now. I'm going to add a little bit more there. I'm going to make more of a pronounced little light right on her nose. Then I come and add more light where I believe light will fall. I do the contour of her above her lip. In doing so, that creates that 3D look. It makes for a better, to me, a better picture. So I'm adding more light into her lip right here. Okay. Little bit more light there, light over here. Remember where the light bounces normally, right? I'm gonna add a little bit more light on this side, just a little bit, and I'm gonna add more light on her forehead. Okay, so how does she look like now? Look how bright she looks now. Way better. Before, after. Okay, I'm happy with that. So then what I do is basically flatten the image. Okay. So what do I do? Where do I go from here? Well, here is where I come in and said, okay, I want a different outfit on Heaven for this image. And here's the tricky part. Unfortunately, you cannot bring your raw file from Photoshop to an artificial platform like Grok, ChatGPT, Nano Banana, and things of that nature. So I'm going to show you what I know. I want to show you what I use and not speculate on something that I haven't used before. But the thing is that we cannot transfer a raw file from Photoshop to an AI platform and then bring it back. It just won't happen. So as a result, then I need to save this image separately. So I'm gonna save this image and I'm gonna export it for web, okay? And I'm sure that this file is going to be perhaps too large. It's 7952 pixels by 5944. Some of the AI platforms will not let you work on any image that is 10 megabytes or higher. So you need to make sure that your image is at 10 megabytes or lower in order to utilize it on a platform. This one here, if you notice right here, is 26.85 megabytes. So it's too large. It will be rejected. So what I need to do is just basically downsize it to maybe 3000 pixels by 2200. And then what I do is save this image. I'll save it on my desktop right here. Okay. So what do? I then minimize Photoshop, and then I go to my browser, pull ChatGPT. Okay, with ChatGPT, then I go and create an image. At this point, I drag my image of heaven, the one I just prepared, dump it right here. Okay, and here's where the magic, I guess, happens. Now, I have spent endless hours creating prompts, testing prompts, trial and errors, trying to hone in the right prompting that will not change my model, the features of my model, the look of my model, the facial features of my model. I don't want her to look plasticky. I don't want her to look artificial. I don't want her to look like it was created by just prompting. No, I want to still demonstrate that this is my photo. I was in Italy. She is a living human being, and this is an actual photograph. So I spent endless hours trying, prompting, and until I honed in the results that I wanted. Now, also, I did the same thing in how to prompt ChatGPT to replace the outfit so that it would look natural, that it would look like she was wearing that outfit right there when I took the photo. Again, it took me a lot of hours of creating prompts and describing outfits and wardrobes, and until I was able to hone in into what worked and what didn't work. Now, as a result of that, then I'm going to show you, I have a file called Wardrobe Prompts. This is a collection of prompts that I have created, and you see the images right here. I'm going to bring this over here. You can see the images of my prompts. You see, hold on, oops. So here is the image for reference, and here is the prompt. Here's another image for reference, here is the prompt, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the prompts that will enable ChatGPT to place or replace the outfit on my original photo to the one that I want and that you can see here in this PDF file. Now, you can, how did I do this? Very simple, guys. Here is the secret. You can go to Pinterest and type, let me just go to Pinterest and show you what I'm talking about. You can go to Pinterest and type, let me see, where's Pinterest right here. So go to Pinterest, all right, and look at this. I can go and find this image right here. What I do, I download this image right here. I download this image, then bring this image that I downloaded to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, as a fashion expert and fashion designer, please describe in detail and accuracy the outfit in this image. Provide your results in a prompt style to be utilized in photo editing. Once I give that command to ChatGPT, ChatGPT produces me this, a prompt. Now, I then take this prompt and use it to replace the outfits in the photos that I want. And I can use this. For example, I'm going to use this right here. Okay? I'm going to take this entire prompt. I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to paste it right here on the image with heaven. Anyway, I'm giving it the whole instruction what I want ChatGPT to change. Now, I can change it if I wanted to right here. For example, since the blouse is going to be ivory looking, so I probably want a rich burgundy gold green fabric. That's gonna be her skirt. In addition to that, I am going to ask ChatGPT, change the headpiece to a ivory faded color matching the blouse. There. So I'm telling ChatGPT what I want. Remember what I did? I made reference of the prompt for this image right here, but I decided to keep the ivory blouse, keep the belt, and then turn this into a burgundy golden skirt and change her headpiece to match her ivory top. There. Let's create magic and see what happens. So ChatGPT is looking at my image. It's not going to change anything about her. It's not going to change the environment. It's not going to change absolutely anything except put a ivory top, a burgundy and gold skirt, a gold sash, and an ivory headpiece. Let's see what happens. It may not be exactly as the image you pull from Pinterest, but look at this now. So I go from having a redundant image of heaven with the same outfit over and over again to a change of wardrobe with her face being the same, her pose being the same, everything is the same, and there you have it. Are you satisfied with this? I am. So what do? I say, thank you, ChatGPT, because every time I do this, I am training the intelligence to give me what I want every time. So now ChatGPT knows me. He knows that ChatGPT knows my style, knows my pictorialism, knows how I work, and therefore produces a more accurate image than before. Once I'm satisfied, then what I do is basically download this image. I leave ChatGPT, I go to my file, I go to downloads, I look for ChatGPT. If you notice, here it is. I open up again my Photoshop. Here is the image of, but let me compare this for you guys. There is the image of heaven, and here is the image of heaven. Look at her facial expression. Is she the same person? Yes, it is. She has the same hair. By the way, I could have asked ChatGPT to change her hairstyle and maybe add more hair on this side. I could do anything I want to. But you know what? I want to stay more truthful to the actual photo that I took of her without altering too much. So right now, guys, let me ask you a question. Have I altered this image so bad that it's no longer a photograph? No, I haven't. I have not. All I have done is accelerate the selection aspect in Photoshop and replacing the white dress and the white hat with something else, and simply ask ChatGPT to do it for me in a more precise and accurate way, doing exactly what I wanted. Imagine trying to do all of this, the skirt, the satchel, the new top, the hat, doing manually in Photoshop is going to take you forever. This right here is still my image, my photograph, my model, on location. You go to Italy today, you will find the same wall with the same plants, the same street. When she gets this image, she will remember that day that she posed, but she will be pleasantly surprised that she's not getting another image with the same outfit, and she's going to look at this and say, oh, wow, look at me. That's what she will say. So I have no qualms whatsoever in leveraging what is inevitable, in leveraging what is in our face, and leveraging for my pictorialism, for my photography, the utilization of what we all have trained AI to do. Think about that for a moment. All these photographic AI intelligent platforms, they all have been trained by the millions of images that photographers like you and I have done, so to speak. And now the question is, no, I don't want to use that. Well, then it's up to you. Look at the two differences, and I'm going to stop here because I think I'm showing you exactly what I needed to show you. This is what you can do in the age of artificial intelligence. All right, to finish it off, I come and drop this right here. I even put it on top of the original image. If you notice a couple of things, ChatGPT reduces the image, right? So if you notice, my image is narrower than the previous image, right? It tends to do that. Even though I asked ChatGPT not to crop it, and so forth, it still does it. But I am happy with this. I can do whatever I want with this. Now, how about the resolution? Right, so look at the resolution of ChatGPT image and look at my image. Big difference, right? Now, it changed the color of her eyes, obviously. It changed a little bit of her facial features, meaning in this image, Heaven has a wider face than it does over here. But guys, what? You can take this image from ChatGPT and go to Liquify and extend her face to match the actual symmetry of her face. And that's normally what I do. I normally come here and I compare. You see right here, I compare how wide the face of my original image is to the one produced by ChatGPT. But remember, ChatGPT shrunk my image from the original one. So proportionally, ChatGPT's image is still in proportion of her face based on just shrinking the image a little bit than my original one. But I can always go back to Liquify and expand, make her face rounder, longer, whatever the case may be, to match it to my original image right here. Now, what are we going to do about the resolution? Well, in that sense, then I take this image and simply enhance it. How do I do that? Well, we have many ways of doing it. So we can upscale this image. I can use, for example, Topaz Photo AI. All right, and in Topaz Photo AI, I can have this software upscale the image, and you can see the difference. Now, I do not like how the eyes are altered, and even also some of the skin. So it's beginning to look more plasticky by upscaling it with Photo AI. So what do we do next? I either use Topaz AI if it doesn't ruin the image. In this case it did, because I didn't like how the eyes looked. Or I use also the generative upscale in Photoshop, but I bump into a problem there too. Then my alternative now is coming to Venice AI and use their upscale and enhance image. Here I click on it, and then I find the ChatGPT image. I open it. All right, I'm going to scale to the max. Again, creativity, I want to be neutral, so I leave it at half. Adherence, I want AI to adhere to just simply upscaling the image. Now I can prompt it and say, do not change facial features, likeness, or frame. Okay? Do not change facial features, likeness, or frames. Do not change pose. Okay? Then I say max. All right? So let Venice AI try to upscale the image that ChatGPT downgraded. Again, until I find another solution, until I'm able to find a prompt that will force ChatGPT to output the same resolution that I have in my image when I put it in the platform, I'm stuck with this. All right. So if you notice, once it was done, it automatically saved it. So then I get out of here. I go to my download file and look for Venice AI, right? And so let's see which one. I have previous ones. So there it is. So here is the Venice AI enhancement. There's the enhanced image, and I'm gonna show it to you. I'm gonna bring that to the ChatGPT AI on top of it. Let's zoom in. Okay, so that's the enhanced image. This is the previous image. All right, here's an enhanced version. What I do at this point is basically then go to image size. I change the resolution to, for print, I do actually 300. And I reduce the size to, I do 5,000 by 3,300. Then I have a higher resolution image that I can use, right? Now in this situation, the difference here is that it changed the color of her eyes to blue rather than the green teal that she was wearing, that she had in the original image. I'm sorry. So for that reason, then I go back and look for the original image. Here's the original image of Heaven. Pretty much her pose is the same, her body is the same. What ChatGPT changed was basically, if you notice, her face is rounder here, and her eyes are not blue, are actually teal green. So how do I resolve this issue, right? To make it appear as close as to the original. Well, I can do two things. A, bring this image, and I'm gonna get out of it. Bring this image to Liquify. All right. I'm gonna zoom in on her face because that's the issue that we're having. Zoom in on her face, and then try to match her face to this face. What is the difference? Look how wide her face is and look how narrow her face is here. So what I can do is take the Liquify and add more roundness to her face. Now if you look at that, now you start looking at the same symmetry of her face. The chin is pretty much the same, her lips pretty much the same, so is her nose, maybe a little bit thinner here, by which we can do that, and the symmetry of her face pretty much the same. Now, the eyes are the ones that are really giving us the look that we don't want. Now, I can do a couple of things here. Now that I'm happy with the width of her face, I can go back to Photoshop. I can actually bring, and this is trick of the trade, guys, bring the photograph and put both of them together. All right, I'm going to minimize the opacity. I'm going to now drag her face to match her face here as much as I can. Okay, seems like I need to reduce her face here a little bit. So I'm going to bring her face down all the way there. That should be good. And now with the layer still selected, I'm matching her face and it's right on top of her. Right there. Okay. So there it is. There is her face and there's that face right there. So there is some significant changes. So what do I do to prevent this from happening? Well, I can't prevent it, but what I can do is I can move the ChatGPT face on top. I can put a mask, and I can, at this point, if I want to, it's up to you, but this is what I do, is then begin to reveal the original face. So that's looking more like my actual heaven. And I can continue to do that. I can do that with her nose. I can do that with her lips, right? And I can actually do the whole face if I want to. Let's do her whole face, just to replace her face. Okay? Because that is the main problem, is her face from ChatGPT. All right, there it is. So, there she is, there she is, there she is, there she is. But small details. Her ear right here, it doesn't matter. It still looks all right, it still looks good, I like that. How about her hair? It's, you know, again, it's depending on how much details you want to alter. So here, I'm pretty happy with it. Look, when you zoom out, you see any difference? On her pose? No. Not really. Do you see any difference on the background? Not really. Do you see the difference on her outfit? Yes. Do you see a difference on her shoulders? Not really. The difference that you are seeing is basically the shape of her blouse versus the shape of the other blouse. And do you see a difference on her face? No. Does her face flow with the rest of the photo? it does. It does. So I'm happy with that. I flatten the image, and then I begin to, at this point, if I want to, apply other filters. Let me show you very quickly. And I'm going to leave you right here. I said, you know, I'm going to apply a, not a filter, but a layer. So I'm going to go to props, my texture. I'm going to apply this filter right here. I'm sorry, I keep calling it filter. I'm going to apply this layer right here. Okay. And that layer will enable me to add that nice moody look. I'm going to take my brush and take it off from where I don't want it. Where I don't want it is on her. I like the dark wall, and I want her to pop even more. So I'm going to use 100% white brush, and I'm going to start taking that off of her. Okay. Now remember, the light is coming from this direction, so I can actually even do this. I can do this. See that? Light strokes right there. But what I'm doing now is I am separating her from the background so that she can pop even more, remove the effect that I just did with the layer. All right. And I can continue to do that and remove more of that color from that layer. Okay. And if I don't like that much of an effect, I can do two things. I can highlight the top layer here. You notice it's at 50% opacity. I can increase that opacity, and you can see that there's more light into the overall picture. Now, this is before, and this is after my overlay. Before, after. Before, after. Now, I don't like that much light over here. If you notice, I just don't like it. There's a halo around her that I don't like. So what I can do at this point is basically now paint with black the shadows that I took. See that? Paint with blacks the shadows that should be there and that I took out before. Okay, I'm gonna add more shadows here. Right, so, and then let me take it off from her feet. And here we have it. So that's now before, after, before, after. And you can continue to add other effects that you want. In this case, for example, I'm happy with this. So I'm going to flatten this image. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back again, add more light to highlight some of her dress. I'm going to reduce the opacity to also about 25. And I'm going to add more light to her dress to add more dimension, if you may, more 3D. I think I'm good with the lighting. I'm gonna add a little bit more on her shoulder, right there, a little bit right here to show more 3D, a little bit more on her neck as I did before, on this shoulder right here, her hands, her arms, just a little bit more, okay, and on her face, I'll do one pass right here, okay, so you can see the difference. So I added a little bit more light, and it's before and after, before and after. If that's too much, again, you can reduce the opacity, or you can use the black brush and put more shadows where you want it. And there's an image that I can now post. For my taste, I probably would like to add more of a painterly texture, but I'm gonna leave it right here because I think this is now you have seen what I normally do when it comes to leveraging AI to transform my image, mainly with a new wardrobe, honestly. So, do you want to have endless supply of wardrobes for your image so that you won't be redundant and can maximize the number of images that you took of your subject? Well, instead of doing it manually in Photoshop, bring that image to, in this case, ChatGPT, learn how to prompt, go to Pinterest, download an image that you like with the outfit, bring that image into ChatGPT, command ChatGPT to describe that outfit for you, keep a record of that, make a file, and take a photo so that you have a reference of the photo in the prompt. Then anytime you want to change the wardrobe of an image, go back to that prompt, bring the image like we did today with Heaven into ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT to change the wardrobe, change the hat, change whatever. Once the result is to your satisfaction, bring the ChatGPT image and upscale that image with whatever software you may have. Once you're satisfied with everything, bring that upscale image back to Photoshop, add more lighting, add texture, add more oil effects if you want, add whatever you want until your image is to your satisfaction. Now you have produced yourself a brand new image that otherwise it would be sitting on your file because you thought it was redundant to post another image of the same subject with the same outfit. That's all I'm showing you right now, is basically how to utilize AI to give you more options. This is how you leverage AI for your photography. Remember that. Don't let anyone tell you that you are not a photographer simply because you're using additional automated systems to help you produce the quality of photography that you want to produce. I am a photographer. I took a picture of a beautiful woman named Heaven on a street in a town in Italy against a wall of a beautiful home, and all of that can be verified, can be corroborated, can be proven that what I'm showing you here is a photograph of my model, and all I did is use another tool outside of Photoshop to create this result. Thank you for putting up with me, and I thank you for the feedback that you provide on my images as well. All right, guys, take it easy.